Alexander the Great. The very name evokes images of sweeping conquests, clashing armies, and an empire that stretched across continents. He is a figure who has captivated historians and storytellers alike for over 2 millennia. His legend, a tapestry woven from truth and myth, continues to fascinate and inspire us. Alexander's story is not just about military prowess. It's a tale of ambition, of a thirst for knowledge, and of a young man who dared to dream of a world united under his rule. His life, though tragically cut short, left an indelible mark on history, shaping the course of empires and the spread of culture for centuries to come. From the sun-drenched plains of Macedon to the exotic shores of the Indus River, Alexander's journey was one of both triumph and tragedy. He was a king, a warrior, a statesman, and a visionary. His story is a timeless reminder of the power of ambition and the enduring legacy of a life lived on an epic scale. Alexander's story begins in Pella, the capital of Macedon, a city that was not just the political heart of the kingdom, but also a cultural and economic hub. Pella was a place where ideas, trade, and people from different parts of the ancient world converged, creating a vibrant and dynamic environment. It was in this bustling city in the year 356 BC that Alexander was born. This was a time when the ancient world was teeming with change and possibilities, a time ripe for the emergence of a leader who would leave an indelible mark on history. His father was King Philip II, a shrewd and ambitious ruler who had transformed the once backward kingdom of Macedon into a formidable military power. Philip was not just a king, he was a visionary who saw the potential of Macedon and worked tirelessly to realize it. Under his leadership, the Macedonian army became one of the most feared military forces in the ancient world. His mother was Olympias, a woman of fierce beauty and even fiercer ambition, who claimed descent from the mythical hero Achilles. Olympias was not content to be a mere consort. She was a powerful figure in her own right, deeply involved in the political and spiritual life of the kingdom. Her influence on Alexander was profound, shaping his character and his destiny. Legend has it that Alexander's birth was accompanied by extraordinary omens. These omens were seen as signs from the gods, foretelling the greatness that was to come. Among these signs was a bright comet that lit up the night sky, a celestial event that was interpreted as a divine announcement of Alexander's arrival. On that very night, the temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, was destroyed by fire. This catastrophic event was seen as more than just a coincidence. It was believed to be a sign that the gods were making way for a new era, an era that would be shaped by Alexander's extraordinary life and achievements. It was said that the goddess herself was absent, attending the birth of a man who would shake the world. This story, whether true or not, added to the mystique surrounding Alexander's birth and fueled the belief that he was destined for greatness. Whether or not one believes in such portents, there is no doubt that Alexander's birth was an event of great significance. The people of Macedon celebrated his arrival with great fervor, seeing in him the promise of a bright future for their kingdom. Olympias, a woman of powerful personality and unwavering ambition, instilled in her son a belief in his own destiny. She was a constant presence in his life, guiding him, teaching him, and preparing him for the great role he was to play in the world. She told him stories of his divine ancestry, nurturing within him a sense of purpose that would shape his life. These stories were not just tales of heroism and adventure, they were lessons in leadership, courage, and the pursuit of greatness. Through these stories, Olympias instilled in Alexander a belief that he was destined to achieve extraordinary things, a belief that would drive him to conquer much of the known world and leave a legacy that endures to this day. Growing up in the royal court of Pella, Alexander was surrounded by the trappings of power. The palace was a grand structure filled with opulent decorations and the constant bustle of courtiers and servants. It was a place where decisions that shaped the fate of nations were made, and young Alexander was always at the center of it all. The air was often filled with the constant clang of weapons as soldiers trained rigorously in the courtyards. The armory was stocked with an array of weapons, from swords and spears to shields and armor, each piece meticulously crafted for battle. His father, Philip, was a skilled warrior and a ruthless pragmatist determined to forge a Macedonian empire. Philip's ambition knew no bounds, and he was relentless in his pursuit of power. often leading his men into battle with a fierce determination that inspired both fear and respect. From a young age, Alexander was exposed to the art of war. He would accompany his father on campaigns, observing the strategies and tactics employed on the battlefield. These experiences were invaluable as they provided him with a first-hand understanding of military leadership and the complexities of warfare. But Alexander was no ordinary prince. Even as a child, he exhibited a determination and drive that set him apart from his peers. His eyes always seemed to burn with an inner fire, a reflection of his unyielding spirit and boundless ambition. He possessed a fiery spirit and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge that set him apart. Alexander was not content with merely mastering the art of war. He sought to understand the world in its entirety. His curiosity was insatiable, driving him to explore a wide range of subjects. He was a skilled horseman, a fearless hunter, and a voracious reader. His prowess in riding and hunting was well known, and he often ventured into the countryside, honing his skills and testing his limits. He devoured scrolls on philosophy, history, and epic poetry. His intellectual pursuits were as intense as his physical training, and he spent countless hours immersed in ancient texts, seeking wisdom and inspiration. He was particularly drawn to the tales of Homer, dreaming of emulating the heroic deeds of Achilles and Odysseus. These epic stories fueled his imagination and aspirations, providing him with a vision of greatness that he sought to achieve. Philip, recognizing his son's potential, provided him with the finest education available. He understood that knowledge was power, and he was determined to equip Alexander with the intellectual tools needed to rule effectively. He brought to Pella renowned scholars and philosophers to tutor the young prince. These learned men imparted their wisdom, engaging Alexander in deep discussions on a variety of topics, from politics and ethics to science and the arts. Philip hoped to mold him into a ruler worthy of the Macedonian throne. He envisioned a future where Alexander would not only continue his legacy but also expand it, bringing glory and prosperity to their kingdom. Little did he know that he was unleashing a force that would eventually surpass his own ambitions. Alexander's potential was limitless, and his destiny was to become one of the greatest conquerors in history, leaving an indelible mark on the world. At the age of 13, Alexander's education took an extraordinary turn. This was not just any ordinary education, it was a transformative period that would shape the future of one of history's greatest conquerors. When Philip, Alexander's father and the king of Macedon, appointed the renowned philosopher Aristotle as his tutor. This decision was a masterstroke, as Aristotle was not only a philosopher but a polymath, a man of vast knowledge and wisdom. Aristotle, one of the greatest minds in history, would spend the next 3 years shaping the young prince's intellect. These were not just lessons in a classroom. They were immersive experiences that broadened Alexander's horizons and deepened his understanding of the world. He instilled in Alexander a love of learning, a respect for logic and reason, and a fascination with the natural world. Aristotle's teachings were comprehensive, covering a wide array of subjects that would equip Alexander with the tools he needed to think critically and lead effectively. Under Aristotle's tutelage, Alexander studied philosophy, rhetoric, politics, ethics, and the natural sciences. These subjects were not just academic pursuits, they were the foundation upon which Alexander would build his strategies and policies as a future ruler. He learned to think critically, to question assumptions, and to articulate his thoughts with clarity and persuasion. These skills would prove invaluable in the many debates and negotiations he would face as a leader. Aristotle also encouraged Alexander's love of literature, particularly the works of Homer. The epic tales of heroism and adventure captured Alexander's imagination and provided him with a model of leadership and valor, which would later serve as a source of inspiration for the young conqueror. The stories of Achilles and other Greek heroes became a part of Alexander's own narrative, guiding his actions and decisions on the battlefield. The relationship between Alexander and Aristotle was more than just that of student and teacher. It was a profound connection that went beyond the transfer of knowledge. They developed a deep bond of respect and admiration, a mutual understanding that enriched both their lives. Aristotle saw in Alexander a brilliant mind and a potential for greatness, while Alexander found in Aristotle a mentor who could guide him through the complexities of life and leadership. And Aristotle's teachings would have a profound and lasting impact on Alexander's worldview. The lessons in ethics, politics, and science were not just academic exercises, they were principles that Alexander would carry with him throughout his life. He would carry the lessons he learned from his mentor throughout his life, applying them in various situations, whether in the heat of battle or in the calm of his court, shaping his decisions as a ruler and a conqueror. The wisdom imparted by Aristotle helped Alexander to not only conquer lands but also to govern them wisely, leaving a legacy that would be remembered for centuries.